Dark history you didn't know. A Japanese soldier was still fighting World War II 29 years after it ended. When Japan surrendered in 1945, Nakamura and his comrades were deep in the jungle on the island of Morotai. The Allied victors dropped leaflets over the jungle explaining the war had ended, but Nakamura and his pals dismissed it as fake news and enemy propaganda. Nakamura's group dwindled until he alone remained in the jungle living off the land and trees. In 1974, he was spotted by a pilot and arrested by Indonesian soldiers. Like, follow, and share for more strange facts. Dark history you didn't know. This man had Santa Claus murder his political rivals. His name was Francisco Nguema, and he was the dictator of Equatorial Guinea. On Christmas Eve 1969, he invited 150 of his political rivals to the National Football Stadium in Malabo. Once they were there, he played Mary Hopkins' "Those Were the Days" over the loudspeakers. Those were the days, my friend. And had soldiers dressed as Santa Claus shoot them with machine guns. And his brutality didn't end there. It's estimated that he killed nearly 50,000 people during his 11-year reign. Like, follow, and share for more strange facts. The dark history of jack-o'-lanterns. Jack-o'-lanterns come from the legend of an Irish drunkard named Stingy Jack. Jack made a deal with the devil and was forced to walk Earth for eternity trying to lead souls astray, with only a turnip lit with hellfire to light his way. People started carving demonic faces into turnips to ward off Jack's wandering soul. And when the Irish fled the Great Potato Famine in the 1840s, they took Halloween with them. But instead of carving turnips, they began carving pumpkins, which were more plentiful in America. And in doing so, created the icon of Halloween called the jack-o'-lantern. Follow for more strange facts. The dark history of Gucci. In 1972, Patrizia Reggiani married Maurizio Gucci, the head of the Gucci fashion house. They became a power couple overnight, attending luxury events and parties. But it didn't last. After the death of his father, Maurizio rekindled his steamy relationship with his childhood crush, Paola Franchi, and began to make bad business decisions. This got worse when Maurizio divorced Patricia to pursue Franchi in 1993. The affair and business meltdown were too much for Patricia to bear. Burning with revenge and jealousy, she ordered a hitman to brutally murder her husband. And in March of 1995, the hitman shot Maurizio 3 times in broad daylight. The impact fractured his skull and showered the front steps of the building with blood. There was only one word written in Reggiani's journal on the day of her husband's death: paradise. Like and follow for more strange facts. The dark history behind famous nursery rhymes. Baa Black Sheep was about slavery. Baa Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. The black sheep referred to the African slaves who worked for the Americans, and the bags of wool referred to the cotton that the slaves were forced to collect. Mary Mary is about a murderous queen. Mary Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. The rhyme is actually about Bloody Mary, who is notorious for torturing Protestants in the 16th century. Silver bells and cockle shells are not garden ornaments. They're said to be torture tools. Jack and Jill is about King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. King Louis was beheaded in 1793, and Jack fell down and broke his crown, followed by Marie Antoinette, and Jill came tumbling after. Follow for more strange facts. The dark history of Christmas. Christmas carolers used to break into people's houses and murder them. 17th century carolers would arrive at homes unannounced and demand to be given food and drink. If they were not invited in, they would threaten violence, assault, destroy the property, and sing songs with lyrics like, "We've come here to claim our right, and if you don't open up your door, we'll lay it flat upon the floor." So Christmas used to be a lot like the Purge. Follow for more strange facts. The dark history behind Christmas. Santa isn't the only one who knows if you're naughty or nice. In Austria, there's a witch named Perchta who comes to find bad children. When she finds a bad kid, she slits open their belly and stuffs their body with straw. She may also cut out their tongue if they're dishonest. It's sort of like Santa bringing coal, but with disembowelment instead. Follow and share for more strange facts. The dark history behind Christmas. This Christmas scarecrow cooks children alive and eats them. According to Alsatian lore, Hans Trapp was a French man renowned for his greed. One night, he lured a shepherd boy to his death and began to cook him over a fire. But before he could eat the shepherd, God struck him dead with a lightning bolt. Still hungry for human flesh, Hans Trapp roams the streets on Christmas night looking for tasty children to eat. So, if you hear a knock on your door on Christmas Eve, don't answer it, unless you want to meet the Christmas scarecrow. Like, follow, and share for more strange facts. The dark history behind Christmas. A rap-battling horse skull is a Christmas tradition in Wales. According to Welsh tradition, a villager from town is chosen to carry a real horse skull, decorated with ribbons, through the streets on Christmas Eve. If you are visited by this strange creature known as Mari Lloyd, you must beat it in a poetry battle. If you lose, the dead horse is allowed to enter your house and eat all the food it wants. Personally, I'd be more upset about having a dead horse in my house than worrying it was going to eat everything. Although if it did start eating anything, I'd be pretty freaked out. Like and follow for more strange facts. The dark history behind New Year's. The earliest record of a New Year's celebration involved human sacrifice. The ancient Babylonians believed that their gods only promised them one cycle of seasons. So once a year, they would try to convince the gods to keep them alive for another season through a massive 11-day festival called Akitu. It was a religious festival of songs, puppets, and blood. At the end of the 11 days, the priests of Babylon would tell their people if the gods were happy with their offerings. If the gods were not pleased, the priests would kill members of the community until the gods were happy again. Follow for more strange facts. The dark history behind 90s toys. There are multiple accounts of Furbies speaking for the dead. In 2012, a young girl was given the Furby of her recently deceased cousin. One night, the Furby woke up by itself and said, "Let me sleep." It continued to stare at the little girl for the whole night. But the next morning, it got worse. The little girl told her mom what happened, and the mom gave her this strange look. The girl asked her mom what was wrong, and her mom said, "Those were your cousin's last words." Like, follow, and share for more strange facts. The dark history behind 90s toys. Do you remember burning your fingers making these worms? And did you know there was a satanic, creepy, crawly TV show? In the show, Chris, a normal teenager, stumbles upon a box of green super ooze that releases 5 undead, creepy, crawly commandos. They literally have pieces of their brains exposed. An evil magician finds the magic goo too, and uses the power of to create his own army of creepy, crawly monsters to take over the world. The show was canceled after only 23 episodes because of how dark the subject matter was. Like, follow, and share for more strange facts. The dark history behind 90s toys. This 90s toy has killed more people than any other toy. Although it's supposed to be fake, the Ouija board by Hasbro has connected countless people with dark spirits. The worst came in 1993 when a young girl tried to contact her recently deceased grandfather. When she called to him, the candles in the room flew at her, catching the house on fire and causing her hair and skin to be severely burnt. Follow and share for more strange facts. The dark history of words. These days, a blockbuster is a successful movie, but the term used to describe a weapon of mass destruction. In World War II, the British dropped these bad boys on their enemies. They called them blockbusters because they could destroy an entire city block in a single blast. Hollywood began to use the word to describe movies that were shocking or extreme, but it has since become a word to describe any extremely successful movie, including children's films like Encanto and Luca. Like, follow, and share for more strange facts. The dark history behind Alice in Wonderland. The author of Alice in Wonderland took inappropriate photos of the girl who inspired Alice. Lewis Carroll was a longtime friend of the Little family, especially young Alice Little and her sisters. He would often go on rowing trips with the girls, and it was actually on one of these trips that he first told the story of Alice in Wonderland. But Carroll also had an unusual passion for photography, and Alice Little was his favorite subject. When she was just 6, he photographed her in ill-fitting clothing and a suggestive pose. In 1863, the Little family had an abrupt falling out with the author and refused to let him see their children any longer. Though no one knows exactly why, rumor has it was because 32-year-old Lewis Carroll had asked his 11-year-old muse to marry him. Like, follow, and share for more strange facts. The dark history behind 90s toys. Do you remember the game Don't Wake Daddy? The whole premise of this game is kind of messed up if you think about it. In the game, you play a kid trying to get a midnight snack while your daddy sleeps. If you wake him, he springs up with this demented face and makes you go back to bed. Why doesn't the dad want the kids to eat? And where's the mom? Critics accuse the game of teaching children it was normal to have to tiptoe around angry, abusive parents. This game really put the fun in dysfunctional. Like, follow, and share for more strange facts. The dark history behind toys. The creator of Mousetrap drove one of his employees to murder. The game was developed by a man named Marvin Glass. He was so paranoid people would steal his toy ideas. He actually locked his prototypes in a bank vault at the end of each workday. This paranoia began to seep into the minds of his employees, and one day, one of them finally snapped. On July 28, 1976, toy designer Al Keller wrote this note to himself, and then proceeded to murder 4 of his co-workers. Security could have stopped him sooner, but they thought that the noises they heard were being made by a toy. Follow and share for more strange facts. The dark history behind UFOs. The first Men in Black sighting can be traced back to the sleepy town of Des Moines, Washington. On June 21, 1947, Harold Dahl and his son Charles were sailing when they saw 6 huge flying discs in the sky, 100 feet across. They witnessed an explosion near the saucers, and their dog was killed by falling debris from the blast. The following morning, Dahl was visited by a man in a black suit. They'd never met before, but the man knew specific details about what Dahl had seen. The man warned Harold to never talk about the incident or bad things would happen to him. Harold was so scared he never spoke about the alien encounter again. Like, follow, and share for more strange facts.